If I called you today and said, hey, I'm buying a business, this is what they do. What are kind of the first steps? And then how do you sort of take over from there? And then what's the process look like when the deal's done and you're transferring everything?
Yeah. So great questions. With the buy side, I always just say, give us a call and ask, right? Like, where are areas that we could see improvement if we were to acquire this business? Like, what are things that we should be kind of putting on our radar of, is the website gonna, need an overhaul soon? Are there ways that we can streamline the intake process, right? And make sure like, hey, this is much smoother and everything is connected and integrated to our CRM. And so that's another way of like, there's opportunities that we can increase the value after acquiring. So yes, this could be a really good deal. Or I think it's pretty well sound and I don't think there's too much coming up that you're going to need to worry about. I think it's a great acquisition. So that's one place that I'm always happy to have those conversations and just sometimes even just call and let's have fun and let's see what that looks like before even getting too deep into the deal. The second side then is as they start working through that process and that kind of the due diligence, if not sooner, is just like start asking the questions. Do they know where these things are? Do they have marketing and analytic reports to prove the numbers that they are saying that are on there for the revenue and whatnot? Do they actually have that many Facebook followers? Or, what does that all look like? And so starting to piece together the story that they're presenting from the sell side, of like, are our numbers there and aligned? And do we actually have access to these things? I've heard, though, a lot that's what's frustrating in the process is they'll say yes. But they, you don't know until you close the deal and then you start asking the questions. But I think if you start asking ahead of time, it will start to come out. If they start humming and hawing, or if they're just like, yeah, we'll get that to you, and you don't really see answers or anything, they probably don't know where those things are. So that's kind of one of the first ways, even just asking them, how are you set up? Do you have 50 different vendors trying to handle all of these things? Do you have an in-house team of 2 people that are just totally overworked trying to manage all of this? Will also help you start to paint a picture of, what am I inheriting from a digital side? Is this going to be a chaotic transfer? Is this going to be pretty smooth? And am I ready to take that on if I were to acquire this? So that's the next step. And then after that, once the acquisition happens, then we start working through our post-transaction integration. And with that, it's going to be similar, where we just go down the whole, checklist, if you will, again, of all of the data points and say, where is this? Did you get this from them? What do we need to make sure that you do have ownership? Who do you want to have ownership at the company? And work through that whole process so that the team doesn't have to. What we've seen is even if a PE company or a larger company that's acquiring has a team for marketing, they're usually marketing other businesses that they also own. They don't want to stop for 100 days, 6 months, whatever, to slow down, grab all of these assets, and then pick back up where they left off. They really kind of want to stay in that. And the manual process is quite tedious, or we have more of a proprietary, this is how this works. This is going to go a lot smoother. So that's how we help on the transaction side. And we see it really needing to be implemented way more often, because we get the phone calls 6 months, 8 months, a year later. Why is our website down? And then I have to go, well, you didn't tell me you acquired this.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know it was a site that existed. Now that we do, let's go figure out what's going on. And since it wasn't already in the stack, if you will, we have to go hunt all of this stuff down right then and there and try and get that site back up and running, when we could have just prevented the whole issue in general. But that halts the business. Again, now we're pulling the marketing team off in a more frantic, panic way. It doesn't look good for whoever's job it was either, to have that fall on their plate, that like business completely halted because we couldn't keep marketing going. We couldn't keep the website up, whatever. And in one of the situations, they had sold it off. The guy that purchased was like, don't worry, Paige, we've got this. We've got a team that handles this. We don't need you anymore. And I was like, no worries. Like, happy to provide you whatever you want, though. And 6 months later, we got the call from the business owner that was selling and was just freaking out and like, Paige, help me. The website's down. What do we do? And I was like, I don't know. It's not my client anymore. Like, I can try what we have. And so we went through about a week and a half, 2 weeks of recovery for it. And it turns out that while he did transfer the website to him, he forgot that the domain was in a different account altogether. And he never brought the domain with him.
Thank you all for listening to Before You Buy or Sell a Business. If you found value in this episode, please follow the show, leave a positive review, and share it with someone. For more information, check out jaredwjohnson.com. We'll see you all next time.